There was a friend of mine, it's been several years ago now. I'd worked with him for quite a little while, and different times he would come into my little makeshift office that I had and take a few minutes, just kind of dissect life with each other. And there's one thing about this guy, he could come into a room, and many times he would just light it up. You knew that he was there. He would, in some ways, he just kind of, all he has to do is come in and kind of have this crazy little odd smile, this little smirk. All he had to do was smirk, and you just started laughing. I don't know how, there's just some guys who are infectious that way. I wish I had that gift, it just kind of lighten up the room. And he had that ability. He really did. I love this guy. Um, and I can remember different times when sometimes almost when you're at work, there's just so much pressure and heaviness. He knew the right moments to come in. Different times I would ask him and say, hey, why don't you come to church with me? I'd love it if you do that. And in his response back was normally this. His response back was, well, you know what? If I come to church, then let me tell you something. The walls are going to come down because it's just not going to work out well if I come to church with you. Shame on me. I should not have left it that way, but I did. Now, my response one time back to him was, hey, you know what? If you come to church with me and the walls fall down, it'd be great because guess what? We have insurance, and they would give us a whole new excuse to have a new building at that point, right? But he never took the bait on that. Years passed by. We still got to know each other in different ways, and then I went to one division of the business, and he was at another portion of the business. My dear friend, had committed suicide. There was extenuating circumstances to that, and I won't go into full great detail of that, but it was heartbreaking. And in his suicide note, he asked if I would deliver the message at his funeral. That was a rough funeral. It was just rough. He's my friend, losing him, and quite frankly, I didn't know where he was at spiritually, and even to this day, I'm not 100% sure where he's at. And so, in that I'm not sure where he's at is something that is deeply disturbing because he was my friend. And I need to tell this story because I think it's important. One, never wait to tell someone about the good news of Jesus Christ. And I would explain it to him at different points in times, but many times I would not go further with him. And that's where we need to be able to say, you know what, you're my friend, and I love you so much. I have to tell you about this God that extends grace to humanity, extends grace not just to humanity, extends grace to you personally in through Jesus Christ, where Jesus makes it very clear, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but by me. And so when you hear that, you need to be able to say, oh, I have to make a decision. Do I accept Jesus? Do I surrender to him, or do I don't? Years later, I was taken back by something after his death, a couple years later, actually. And it's kind of odd circumstances where I was at, but I had this odd dream. And of all things, I was in a public restroom. What significance completely is all of that? I've been told a little bit what that might be. But it's in a public restroom by myself, and this door swings wide open. And here is my friend. And my friend would normally, almost always, have this really kind of quirky smirk on his face. And so I exclaimed his name. I'm like, I recognized exactly who this was. But he did not have a smirk on his face. He did not have any joy on his face. There was no hope on his face. And that's one thing, as people who are still breathing and living, you still have that hope, right? It doesn't matter if you're far from Christ or near Christ, there's still that hope, because God has not abandoned you. However, upon death, if there's a rejection of the living King, then there's a problem. You've rejected not only Jesus, you rejected also the call of the Holy Spirit, you rejected the Father as well. And so in doing that, there are consequences for that. Dire consequences. And I've been to enough funerals, and I understand. So a friend approached me in that bathroom, and I approached him with wide open arms. He didn't say a word. But it was the expression of no hope that threw me. That there was no hope. That was enough. I woke from my dream, and it was a dream. I woke from that, and I had to say to myself, the gospel message has to be proclaimed. My little mouth, whatever I come up with, the smallness of me, God used me. The small little guy, use me however you need to use me to tell people about the wonderful hope that Jesus brings. Jesus lived this life, he died on the cross, and he rose again. And even if I have to look like a complete fool in expressing that, and I'm not a gifted speaker, but let me tell you something, however he can use this mouth, however he can use your mouth, be used by God. If you have a friend that you can think of that God is speaking to you to share the gospel, do it. Do it. It's that important. I love that guy. He was good. He was fun. I don't know exactly where he is. I hope that dream wasn't true. But I can tell you this. I believe that I need to go tell more people about Jesus Christ. I believe that you do. If you love Jesus, be willing to be a fool today. And go tell it on the mountain. Go tell it in the city. Go tell it wherever you are. It's my 2 cents.